OK ចាអញ្ចឹងជាបឋមសូមគ្រប់ជំរាបសួរទៅដល់ឯកឧត្តមទ្រង់លោកជំទាវលោកស្រីអ្នកនាងកញ្ញាទាំងអស់ដែលកំពុងតែតាមដានទស្សនាការ live ផ្ទាល់របស់ page Sister of Code របស់យើងអញ្ចឹងនៅក្នុងថ្ងៃនេះដែរគឺយើងមានកិត្តិយសជាមួយនឹងការណែនាំទៅដល់អ្នកស្រីដែលគាត់ធ្វើការវិស្វកម្មវិស្វកម្ម Software Engineering អញ្ចឹងតោះទៅជួបគាត់ទាំងអស់គ្នាចា Hello Kim
Hello, Sakang. Nice to meet you. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so welcome to Sister of Code. Thank you for joining us today and share your experience to our Sister of Code in Cambodia. So first of all, can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Kim, and I am a British Vietnamese living in England, United Kingdom at the moment. I'm a software engineer and tech coach.
Okay, great. So first of all, can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
So I am a tech coach, so I create and deliver programs to help underrepresented people refresh and upskill in the software engineering domain after a career break. So I deliver programs to upskill engineers at existing companies in all things DevOps. I'm a tech content and workshop creator, so I help people engage in technology in fun and practical ways, whether they're starting off in their careers or whether they are looking to improve their skills at any stage of their careers. I'm very passionate about creating things for tech education, so I love sharing my experiences with the community to encourage others to learn and grow in their technical skills and confidence.
Yes, amazing. So thank you so much. And also, you sent me the slide presentation as well, right?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
created a slide presentation. So yeah, it has lots of pictures and diagrams to show my journey into tech.
Okay, so let me share your slide presentation. Okay.
Okay, so if you can jump onto the what is a software engineering slide, that will be perfect, Shokhong.
Okay. So you see this one, right?
Yeah, so that one, so alongside my tech coaching, I'm also a baker, so I love to bake. I also love to climb, I also love to play games as well. So I think it's very important to have a lot of hobbies alongside technology. So if you can go to the next slide, and yeah, perfect, thank you. So that is the next question that you sent through on the questionnaire, which is, what is software engineering? So software engineering is the ability to communicate through code, to create something that users can use through code, and to solve real life problems. So software engineering is about helping humans through coding. So that's why I really like it, because I don't think it's just about the computer. It's a way of communicating, just like people can communicate internationally through different languages. Coding is very special because it is language agnostic. It's a shared language that the world can use to solve problems. So if you hop onto the next slide, please. So I decided to become a software engineer because I use a lot of applications on my mobile phone, and I use a lot of websites online like YouTube and Twitter, and I take photos with my friends, but I wanted to become a creator. So instead of being a consumer and a customer, I wanted to make something for myself through code. That's why I became a software engineer, so that I have lots of learning opportunities, meet other people, and I get to understand how and why things work. You can hop to
Okay.
the next slide, please. Yeah.
So one more thing, I want to inform all our participants that join our Facebook Live. If you have any question for our guest speaker, you want to learn more, you can ask in the comment section so that she will answer it directly.
So my journey into tech is a non-linear journey. So non-linear means something that is not straight. In our careers, our career progression is not a straight line. We meet people at various stages of our careers. So at school, I studied maths, English, science, business studies, history, geography. But then when I finished high school and college in 2011, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So at university, I decided to study geography. Geography is the study of the environment and how the world works. And then I studied at the University of Oxford for that. And then I did my master's degree in environmental modelling in 2014 and 15 at the University College London in London. And the Masters in Environmental Modelling showed me that because of climate change, we needed more people to build modelling software to understand how to reduce the risk of climate change. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, perfect. In 2015, I then went on to work in sustainability consulting, and what that career involved was me doing some audits, so checking that buildings were very environmentally friendly, they weren't damaging to the environment. So I worked in that role for a couple of years. I did some business consulting, and then my director at the time gave me the responsibility to work across businesses and the software to be able to solve the client's problems. During that time, I then decided that I really wanted to code because that was where I felt I might be able to help the most. So I received a fellowship to attend a software engineering course for free. And through that fellowship, I was able to learn a lot of different skills from front end to back end software development and how people then built good software. And in 2019 to the present, I've been involved in a lot of full stack software engineering projects. I've been involved in teaching people to code in the community. I volunteer my time to give talks to schools, and I also work alongside museums to deliver engaging workshops to help people see that technology is not just about coding and that it's super fun. A lot of people ask me, do awards matter? So recently I've received 3 awards for my engagement in technology within the community. So it's the 2020 Women in Software Power List, the 2020 Tech Women 100, and the 2020 World Skills UK Diversity and Inclusion Role Model nomination. The awards were not my end goal. I wanted to help people. So if you are thinking about a career in tech, don't focus on the outcomes of the awards. Focus on what your purpose and your mission is and what impact you want to make on the world. A lot of people feel very sad when their friends get awards and they don't get an award. So try to think about what is most important for you first. So have there been any changes if you can go back to the previous slide, please. Has there been any changes in the industry since I started? So I've definitely seen that more young girls and women have become interested in technology now. So I'm very happy that Sisters of Code exists to help young girls get into technology in Cambodia. So I think it's very important that Sisters of Code continue to do that work. There's a lot of entry-level people coming into technology, but I think that more should be done to help people upskill throughout their careers. So a lot of young girls within their first year or two in technology become very scared, they lose confidence, and then they start to quit their role. So there needs to be more progression through tech to help them become future leaders. And finally, I wanted to say, in terms of diversity, it's not just about gender. So what I found is there's a lot of Western sort of white females in tech now. There's not many Southeast Asian people in tech at all. So I think there should be more programs to help people from Southeast Asia to get into tech and be representative as well. So how to encourage more Khmer women into tech? So how to encourage this? So the first thing is to create role models and a mentorship scheme and change perceptions in schools. So if you think about it, if you learn your coding skills, if you learn about technology and you then go into work, you want to be able to give back to the community so you can become a role model. So having a program to help these role models and mentors come back to the programs to be able to teach on the programs and inspire others can help create that pathway for young women into tech. Having coding clubs like Sisters of Code and activities focusing on other skills alongside coding is important. So it's not just about coding like HTML, CSS, Scratch. I saw that Scratch came as well, which is fantastic, but it's not just about the coding skills. So you would need to probably have more programs around building confidence, building business skills, as well as hackathons and project skills to solve a real life issue. And having national and international competitions really helps. So maybe Cambodia can have a more national competitions in technology, and they can also be involved at international level as well. I think you're on mute.
Okay. Currently, we have one international competition as well, Technovation in Cambodia, and many of students from Sister of God join also. So thank you for that opportunity. Come to the next question. So how to be a good software engineer?
So in terms of a good software engineer, people always think it's just about the coding. It's just about the coding skills, but it's more than just that. First of all, you need to have the ability to collaborate with others. A good software engineer is someone who is able to communicate what they need to a business representative or the customer and be able to work effectively with them and be able to understand the customer and the product as well. So if I am sitting here and I am just coding and making my own games, that's just my own hobby. If I am working in an industry, my code is making a difference for the customer and the product. So it's very important to, first of all, understand the customer and the product, because if they didn't exist, you wouldn't have something to build in the first place. So you need to understand that first. And having good time management skills is very important. So I don't know at Sisters of Code in terms of when the students find a bug in a program or when they try to do something and it's not working, you can feel a little bit frustrated and it's not working, let's try again, let's make it work. So having good time management skills is important. So you can prioritize which features you want to work on and which features you might want to work on later. And this is because in a commercial environment, people pay you to build software. So it's an investment, it's someone's money. So you need to work with people to understand where this money will be best used. So maybe you want to use cloud technologies. Maybe you want to spend more time to upgrade your systems. Maybe you want to build a fantastic user experience in HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So thinking about that is very important.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So come to our next question. How to be a team and to be a successful leader?
So I think I wanted to mention the previous slide. So if you can go back 2 slides, that would be perfect. So alongside the business skills, it's very important to also be able to look at the code level as well. So in your code, you are not the only person who is writing the program. So writing clean code so someone else can understand and add to it is very important. So you don't have to rewrite your code again. And naming your functions and variable names very clearly can help someone working on your program help you as well. So definitely pair programs. So don't work by yourself on the computer all the time. Have someone sit next to you and share and swap your computer and learn from each other and different ways to code the same problem. And also have good separations of concerns, modular code and tested code. So if you think of your mobile phone, the manufacturer, they have to have some testing to make sure that when you receive your phone or your laptop, that it's not broken. So make sure that you test your work to make sure that the user at the end who is using your program is happy and that they are satisfied with what you delivered. So well-tested code is very important to making a good program and therefore being a good software engineer. Okay, in terms of how to build a team and be a successful leader. So that was one of the questions that came in, and that's a very interesting question. First of all, if you think about a leader isn't just someone who is sitting on a chair and telling other people what to do. That is not necessarily a good leader. A leader is someone who is wanting to help out and wanting to learn from others. So first of all, a good leader is someone who is humble and someone who is willing to learn. And that's the first step. Because if your team isn't there, then how would your idea become a real life thing? So there in the Harvard Business School, they do like a sort of post of articles online, and they talk about the idea of servant leadership. So a servant leader is someone who is there to serve others. And you might think, oh, that sounds very strange. I'm the leader. I should, be in charge. I should have the ideas, but it's the opposite. And there's a quote by Oprah Winfrey, and she said, when you choose the paradigm of service, looking at life through that paradigm, it turns everything you do from a job into a gift. So a paradigm is just a set way of thinking, but if you are thinking about serving others and doing good to others, then you will see your job as a gift and it's no longer work. So people think about, okay, here's my career, that's work, and my life is something else. Maybe you should think about your full-time work as something that is meaningful. So you need to be there to serve others, and it's very difficult. It's not easy to do in a world where people value outcomes and value concrete successes. So make sure that you always are underpinned by your values. And in terms of the team, understanding different communication styles is very important. So a lot of people come to me and they say, I've got a team of people. Some people are quiet, some people speak more than others. So it's very important when you're building your team to have a mixture of people who are quiet and not quiet, outgoing and not outgoing. Everyone is a mixture of being introverted and extroverted. So, for example, I'm an introvert, so I get energy from myself, but it does also mean that I can speak to others as well. So don't think that you just fit in the same box all the time. Create a space to listen to others as well. So sometimes it's very difficult to hear things when you are a leader, where it means that it challenges your thinking, but it's very important to be able to think about that. In terms of your team, have a shared team goal. So a shared team goal can bring the team together, and when the team is feeling like they are behind on a project or they are not meeting the expectations of the project, bring the team together, make sure that they are back on the shared team goal so that they can work for a joint cause. Hire for diversity of thought. So a lot of teams tend to hire during an interview for people who are very alike them, so very similar to their thoughts. Instead, when you're hiring for people who are very different to you, because if they're different to you, they can bring a different viewpoint, different perspectives to be able to help provide a different idea into your project that you haven't thought about before. But to enable that diversity of thoughts, you need to be able to create a space for psychological safety. Psychological safety is just a fancy word to say, do I feel safe in speaking up about my own thoughts, my own values, and my own issues? And I think in a world where we are encouraging more cultural diversity, it's very important to create the space for this. So in the UK, maybe beyond, there's a lot of women coming into technology, but they are not very diverse. There's not many Southeast Asian women at my workplace. I was the only Southeast Asian person on my team, and I am still the only Southeast Asian person in my team in my career so far. So it's something that I feel very passionate about. And definitely be honest as well. So when you are working with others, be honest about when you feel uncomfortable about something, when you need to take a break to be able to recharge and regain your energy. Being honest means that you are creating the space that people understand how you think. If you don't say anything, and you hide away and you say, yes, I will do it, or yes, that's okay, then you won't feel like you are being heard. So make sure you speak up, make sure you be honest, and make sure the other person can understand your feedback as well. So the ability to give and receive feedback is important. And sometimes someone might say something that can upset you, but they are saying it out of love to be able to help you. So don't think that when people say something bad that they are saying it to damage you. They are not harming you, they are helping you. And people value different things. So each person in the world, in the team, will have a different goal, a different personal development goal. So just make sure that you have space for one-to-one meetings and also group meetings for people to share what they're learning on. Maybe they can share some top tips on different articles. Maybe they have a hobby that they wanted to share. Maybe they play a musical instrument and they wanted to host a little concert for everyone. So make sure you bring people together, not in a commercial business environment, but also in a social environment as well. So you can understand who they are, what their mission is, and what their purpose is. So I'm just going to take some questions and answers, but I'd like to say thank you very much to Sisters of Code for inviting me to come and speak. I know it was a very short talk, but hopefully you got a lot of information from the questions that you sent through and the answers that I gave. I think you're on mute.
Okay, so can you hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. And actually, we received Another question from last night as well is beside of the question that I submit to you. So first question, they ask, what do you think? How important for women to join tech industry?
How important is it for women to join the tech industry?
What do you think about that?
It's extremely important because if you think there was an app that was built and the application was on fitness and health, and in terms of fitness and health, because the team were majority male, a lot of the features were male oriented. So a lot of features that women would feel very valuable, like the menstrual cycle or maybe measuring other things as well, weren't included in the application. So when the women as customers started using the application, they sent some complaints in and they said, why didn't you include some features that women wanted in this application? Why were they missing? And the answer was because there wasn't a woman in the team or women in the team to be able to add these features in. So it's very important to have women in the team to make sure that the software is created for both women, men, and also across different cultures as well.
Nice. So another question is, how much do you think the industry has changed since you joined?
So
Do you
the
any changes do you recognize during your study and until now?
Yeah, so the industry is changing a lot in terms of people getting interested and coming into technology. So that's both women and men, but also in terms of people wanting to study in programs like Sisters of Code, like boot camps as well, career changes. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of help to help people from their entry level roles, so when they first enter the tech industry, to when they become an engineering manager or a leader in the organization. So part of the issue is a lot of people drop off still. A lot of women, they drop off after a year or two. They have children as well, they have families, and they find it difficult to come back into work again. So we need to do more to encourage women to come back to work after a career break, after having children, because when they've been hired, a lot of companies will look at their resume or their CV and they go, oh, you're a mother, whereas they don't realize that this mother is actually, you know, very skilled and talented and can come back to work. There's also, in terms of the changes, there's a positive change for people coming into technology, but there is also a lack of cultural diversity in tech still. So there's still a lot of work to be done. In the companies that I worked at, there's not many Southeast Asian people. I haven't really met someone from Cambodia, Khmer woman in tech here. So I think there's more that needs to be done. Even as a Vietnamese person, there's not many Vietnamese people working in international technology. So I think there's more schemes and programs that need to exist for people to come into tech and also progress through their career.
Well, actually, that is the challenges that Cambodia face because, in the field of technology in Cambodia, because of their previous old pattern of their mindset, they believe like the field technology can only men can do well than me. I am a girl, so this is that quite challenging a lot. So that's why we create the system of God to empower and support our Khmer Cambodian girl to learn how to code, and especially for them give a chance for them to access to the technology, to consider like the career intake is accessible for girl, not only for men. So and also because of like role model, so we try to invite more international and local speaker, especially women that success in technology field like you today. So you are a role model to inspire them so they can believe and pursue their dream. They don't care about what other people, just they saw you and then okay, she's so nice, she's cool, she's success, I want to be like her. It's kind of something like that. So thank you so much for today.
Oh,
But
thank you. Thank you
yeah,
for inviting me along. Yeah, it's been great. And I'd like to add, it starts from the school. So I think that Sisters of Code has something very special here because a lot of the perceptions and a lot of the stereotypes start from the school environment. So if there's an IT class or a robotics class in school, some girls might feel shy. I felt shy when I was in school, and my friends and I went to pick our classes, and there was a class in electronics, and there were so many boys in there. And then my friends and I said, "Oh, we don't want to be studying electronics and IT because there's so many boys in there. We don't want to sit in a room full of boys." So I think it starts from the school environment, because once people leave school, then they carry that bias inside their head into the environment. So it all starts from school, I think.
yeah, and for our program, we after school program, so we not interfere with the ministry curriculum. But anyway, we create a fun way outside the school in the
Yeah.
weekend, so the girl can join and have fun and learn, and then they can consider to study career in science, computer science, and technology, something like that.
No, it's fantastic. I
Yeah.
wish I wish I was in Cambodia to help out. But I live in the other side of the world. So
Okay. So where are you right now?
I am living in London, in
Ah.
England, United Kingdom. So I'm British Vietnamese. So my parents came over to the UK, and I was born here, but I can speak Vietnamese and English.
Ah. Okay. Nice, but our session is not yet end. We still have another question for you as well. Seems like you have a lot of question. Okay, and then our next question: what advice would you give yourself when you're starting out in the technology field? Because normally, as a girl, study abroad is not your origin country, so you will face a lot in terms of discrimination, male working and studying in tech. So how do you do about that one?
Yeah, so it's a very important question. I'm glad you asked it. It's a hard one. So sometimes so the advice I would give to myself starting off in tech is, don't worry about what people think about you. So a lot of people coming into tech, a lot of women especially, feel like they lack confidence. And the reason is they seek to have this external validation, which is essentially a stamp to say, good job, you're on the right track. And if you live like that, you're not living for yourself, you're living for others and other people to say you've done a good job and other people's approval. I encourage you, don't live like that, because it's very stressful for you, and you will not feel happy, and you will not feel fulfilled with your success. Your success is from within, so it's for you to decide when you are successful. So my advice is, focus on my path, so focus on the path that you want, and make sure that you are not harming others. So do it out of care. And if there's something that you don't agree with, just hear out, and then maybe raise it privately to your manager in your meetings. Or you can even just talk to friends and family about it and deal with it gracefully. So don't be angry, don't fight fire with fire. Don't fight fire with fire. So if someone says something bad about you, be calm and be better than that. Don't say something bad at the other person again. It's not good.
Hmm. You inspire me a lot. I wish I can join the technology like when I study in high school. I love technology, but because like I don't know the place to study and what can the after I finish what kind of job that I can pursue in that field of technology. So right now, most of Cambodian girl they have a lot of opportunity and scholarship a lot. And one more thing, so you study there? Do you apply for scholarship or you full pay fully to study there?
So I didn't study computer science or mathematics at university. I studied geography. So
Mm.
geography in Southeast Asia, like in Vietnam, Cambodia, it's not a subject. It's not something that you would study at university. So when I first studied geography, my parents were like, we don't understand what subjects you're studying. So my family, from a Southeast Asian origin, they always focus on you need to become a doctor, you need to become an engineer, you need to become a teacher, because these are the roles in Southeast Asia that people look up to. These are the roles in society that are available. But when I went to school and university, I realized there were more roles available to me. And so I didn't study computing at all. And then I did environmental modeling. And I received, when I was 25, 26 years old, I received a scholarship to study software engineering. And then change my career. So I'm actually a career switcher, and a career switcher is someone who has pursued a career and then decided to change their career later on in their working life. So that was quite a journey as well. So it doesn't matter if you choose one career and then you decide to change, it's fine. There's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of resources to learn now. So don't think that because you picked one subject that you have to do that for the rest of your life.
Okay, so also one more thing, when you said that, I also asked a question as well. So, is it like look good or not for people to change many job?
Yeah, it's not a problem at all. Obviously, I'm not saying have a job for 1 month, then change, have a job for a year and then change, have a job for 2 weeks and then change. But it's quite common in technology now for people to stay in a company for 1 to 2 years initially, and then they'll move on and they'll work for about 3 years, maybe 4 years. So it doesn't look bad on a CV. It actually enhances your CV and shows that you have multiple skills. But again, it's up to you as a person to decide. If you feel comfortable in your role and at your organization, you can stay there and progress into like a manager level or director level. So it's up to you to decide, does that company help you grow in the right direction? Does that company support you? If they do, then stay, because the people make you come to work. So if you are just picking a job just because of money and you pick it and it makes you unhappy, that's not helping you, that's not encouraging you to grow. Like, money is important, but money is not the whole story of being a professional women in tech.
Okay. Also, yeah, final question. Actually, it's not the last question yet, but I want to ask you, what do you think is the best part of being a woman in tech industry?
The best part at the moment is a lot of companies have a lot of training schemes and grants and sponsorships and scholarships available. So it's a fantastic time to be a woman in tech because you can inspire others. It's a great time now. And it means that because of all these opportunities and volunteering schemes, you can really grow not only in terms of your technical skills, but also your confidence skills and professional skills in business as well. So, like I mentioned before, being a software engineer isn't just about sitting at a computer and writing code, because the code has to deliver something to the user. You are creating a product at the end of the day. So you need to have a thinking of the customer in your mind when you are designing something. And it's a fantastic time because you get a lot of support. You get a lot of opportunities. So you can join now, and it's very good. And yeah, it's a fantastic time, not only for women, but also for people from different cultures as well. So don't forget that diversity doesn't mean being a woman or a man. It also means being, from a different country or from a different background.
Okay. Also, I would like to ask you as well. For many our girls, they don't know they are. It's always a question for them. What is the skill do they need to join to study in tech or working in tech? Is there any requirement specific skill like they need to know mathematics or have a level English, something like that? So what is the skill or any specific skill, or is it free for everyone?
If you are willing to learn, you can become a software engineer. So in the old days, people think you have to be good at maths to be a good engineer. My best friend is an English languages major, and she became a very good software engineer without mathematics. So first of all, you have to decide which stream you are going to come into technology. So there's lots of roles now. It's not just full stack software engineer. So full stack software engineer is someone who designs an application with the front end, so the things you see in a website, and the back ends, the data and the logic that sits behind the website. A front end engineer is someone who is focusing on the user experience and the design of your application. So in terms of the skill sets involved to be a front-end engineer, you have to have a good eye for design. So you have to be able to work on good designs, be able to think about accessibility. So if someone is blind, they can listen to your website as well through a screen reader. So it's very important to be aware of that. So that's a very important skill. If you are focusing on back-end development, what a back-end developer does is they look at the logic behind the code. So for example, you might work on a payment system to take payments for an e-commerce website. So that sort of role requires a little bit of mathematics, but not a lot. So you have to do basic calculations like percentages and be able to work with numbers, but it's not something complex. So you don't have to do calculus, for example. You don't have to do algebra. There's no algebra involved in the back-end role type. If you wanted to go into machine learning and data science, you would have to have some skill of mathematics, especially in terms of statistics, and be able to understand some algebra skills in terms of maybe linear regression, maybe some modeling, mathematical modeling skills. But it can be learned. So a lot of people can get into data science, machine learning roles by learning these concepts. And there's a lot of tools out there that enable you to do machine learning very quickly. So like in Google, they have like a teachable AI that you can use to be able to create a machine learning model. You essentially, it means that as a data scientist, you don't need to do all the calculations anymore. You can just use these tools. So in terms of skills, it's very much varied according to the role that you are choosing to come into the industry. If you don't have an idea of what role you want, then you can just pick the one that you feel fits your skill sets the most. And aside from the technical skills, you need to be able to work with people, be able to work across different teams. And it's essentially the same skills you would have in any other industry. It's the same skills. It's time management, communication, presentation. It's the same skills.
Okay. So I think it's a lot, and our time is also coming up. It's nearly time for our session end. But finally, I would like to ask you: do you have any advice that you would like to give to a woman who considering a career in tech industry, and what do you wish you had known before?
Yeah, the advice I would give is don't be scared of asking other people to mentor you. So, when I was starting off as a woman in tech, I felt very scared in asking questions and asking people in the industry to help me and to give me advice. So, if you see someone who is in your future like dream position, reach out to them and give them a message. Maybe ask for them to mentor you. If they don't say yes, that's fine. You can also ask them to just answer in written form. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And also, something that I would share is learn inside the community. Don't learn to be a software engineer in your room alone inside your computer, because there's so many courses online for you to do. Sometimes it feels very boring if you just go through the list and go, right, I'm going to learn Python today, and I'm just going to sit there and learn as if I was studying for an exam. If you learn that way, you can feel it can feel a bit repetitive. So make sure that you start to build small projects early on with other people. So by building small projects, you have a portfolio, you have something to show a future employer that you also understand that code is an enabler to make something. So don't think you have to build the next Apple. You don't think you're there to build the next big tech company. You can just build an application, like a weather application. You can build a game. You can build a to-do list, a notebook, a digital notebook. You can build a shopping list application. These are small ideas that you can build with other people, and you can put your team name down, and you can feel like you created something as a team. So remember, learn alongside a team. Don't just learn by yourself.
អូខេចាអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់កម្មវិធីយើងគឺងាកចិត្តចូលមកដល់ទីបញ្ចប់ហើយសម្រាប់អ្នកដែលកំពុងទៅតាមទស្សនា Facebook Live របស់យើងបើសិនជាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាមានសំណួរអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអាចត្រប់ជាសំណួរនៅក្នុង comment section នឹងបានណាតែបើសិនជាអត់មានទេគឺកម្មវិធីយើងគឺមានតែប៉ុណ្្នឹងឯងអញ្ចឹងសូមអរគុណអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាដែលតាមទស្សនាកម្មវិធី live ផ្ទាល់របស់ Sister of Code យើងនៅថ្ងៃហ្នឹងចា so thank you so much for Kim that tuning in today is like inspire me a lot, and also I believe our girls in Cambodia will be look up to you for like a role model that they can pursue their dream and believe in themselves like you mentioned.
Yeah,
So
thank
any
you.
yeah
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me along. It's been a real pleasure, and I wish Sisters of Code many successes for the future. I think the program is very special and very unique, and will essentially help to encourage these girls into technology. So the program's fantastic. So yeah, and keep learning. Everyone at Sisters of Code, keep learning, keep asking questions, keep supporting each other. It's really important.
okay, thank you so much, goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.